Three white men were found guilty of murder for chasing down and fatally shooting a 25-year-old black man named Ahmaud Arbery in February 2020. Those men may now spend the rest of their lives in prison. The triggerman, Travis McMichael, his father, Gregory McMichael, and their neighbor, William Roddy Bryan, claimed that they suspected Arbery of burglaries in their neighborhood and were attempting to make a citizen's arrest. But prosecutors argued the men had no evidence of Arbery committing any crimes and no right to pursue him. The killing prompted Georgia officials to repeal the state's citizen's arrest law, and the case garnered national attention. It drew civil rights leaders to Brunswick, Georgia. Today, President Biden said in part, quote, "The verdict ensures that those who committed this horrible crime will be punished." CBS's Omar Villafranca leads off our coverage at the courthouse. Good evening, Omar.
Good evening. When we first talked to Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, 17 months ago, there was not a lot of attention on this case, but she was pushing investigators to dig deeper. She wanted the men arrested, tried, and convicted. Today, a year and a half later, because of her pressure, her prayers were answered.
Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty.
An emotional reaction from Ahmaud Arbery's father to the first of 23 guilty verdicts for the three men who murdered his son. Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, wept in the back row as the verdict was read.
To tell you the truth, I never saw this day back in 2020. I never thought this day would come. But God is good.
The three men stood silent as their fates were read. They could spend the rest of their lives in prison. Their attorneys say they're disappointed but respect the jury's decision.
We understand that they feel they have gotten justice today. We respect that. We honor that.
Travis McMichael, the man who pulled the trigger, was found guilty on all charges. His father, Greg McMichael, was found guilty on all but one count of malice murder. And neighbor William Roddy Bryan, who recorded the fatal encounter on his cell phone, was found guilty on 6 counts, including felony murder.
We would expect the judge to give the most severe sentence to, obviously, Travis McMichael, and that would probably be a life sentence. The judge could go up to a life sentence for the felony murder on the other two, but they are all facing similar sentencing.
Defense attorneys argued the defendants suspected Arbery was a burglar and were conducting a citizen's arrest, and that Travis McMichael shot Arbery in self-defense.
You are allowed to use force that is likely to cause death or serious bodily injury if you believe it's necessary.
Jurors also heard from more than 24 witnesses during the trial, including Travis McMichael, who said during cross-examination Arbery did not threaten him.
He hasn't pulled out a gun.
That's correct.
He hasn't said one word to you.
He has not.
He's not threatened you in any way, verbally or physically.
No, ma'am.
No knives.
No knives.
The jury of 9 women and 3 men, all white except for one black man, came to their decision after more than 11 hours of deliberation. Outside the courthouse, a crowd chanted Ahmaud Arbery's name and celebrated the verdict and his family, who had been present almost every day in court.
I wouldn't want to see no daddy watch their kid get lynched and shot down like that.
For Wanda Cooper Jones, the verdict is a validation of her son's life.
You know him as Ahmaud. I know him as Quez. Yes. He will now rest in peace.
Amen.
Thank you.
The judge has not set a date for sentencing. Because of this case, Georgia's citizen's arrest law was repealed and state hate crime laws were actually passed. As for the defendants, their legal journey is not over. They now face federal hate crime charges in a trial that'll start next year. Margaret?
Omar Villafranca, thank you.